So then I hit my head on the wall one time, and then I hit my head on the floor another time. And long story short, I'm a little bit concussed. Hi peeps, I'm Ngọc.
And I'm Ricardo.
And we are
Thinking³. We are Thinking³, a podcast created by Ngọc and Ricardo to talk about our journey into becoming better people.
We will talk about how to improve yourself, how to improve your relationships with your family, your friends, and others.
And just generally talking about how to live a more humanly human life.
In this week's episode, we will talk about living happily in a community.
We spend a great part of our lives living in communities. That could range from the smallest community, which is your household, your home. It includes the college campus where you are studying or where you studied. It includes your workplace, your neighborhood, and it can go as far as including the society that we are all part of.
To talk more about this topic, we brought in a special guest that has a lot of experience in building communities. Her name is Thuy, and she's here to give us her expert opinion on how to live happily in a community. So, hi Thuy.
Hi Ngọc, hi Ricardo.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm fine, very good to talk with you about this topic. It's so very interesting.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here. Thank you.
I'm ready.
We would love to know what your past projects were and what you've been working on right now, if you don't mind sharing.
Thank you, Ngọc. In the past, I was a CEO of a medium-sized construction company. So at the time, I get a lot of success in the society and to be respected by many people because I have been working hiring people, Vietnam government and also many people from big international group. So I get a lot of money, I get a lot of respect. I have 2 good children, I have handsome and successful husband, but I have been lacking something and I lost my innocence and I feel very cold. Before when I was young, I could cry to a movie that made me very touched. But now I feel I'm so cold and I feel I cannot love myself and love the others. Whenever I have some conversation, I just talk about the benefit for me and for others, and all the time is the deal and deals.
So it's all about like making money.
Yeah, so just money and the reputation. So, but I give up and I decided to create another community. At first, I feel very difficult and very hopeless because it's so difficult to work with different type of people. Before, I usually work with successful people or some big guys, and also I am the boss, so the staff, also the educated members. But if I create a new community, I will start with the very low level without education. They are like a security guards, they are like housemaid and also workers. But at the time I feel I'm very lucky that I have a lot of things in life. So I still feel for them and love them. I want to be equal to them. And I don't want to be kind of the higher person. So I become the owner, but not exactly like owner. I just kind of owner and worker together. I use my housemate and some security guard around that, also like the vegan food. And I train them and they become the chef in the restaurant. So it means it was very difficult for me to open a vegan restaurant because the people around object my openings, because the restaurant inside a very rich community. They look down me and why I make a restaurant inside that community. But I overcome and I still keep my intention, and finally the restaurant is open and is running so far and become one of my famous address for international and Vietnamese people. After that I opened the second one in another place. I think still running well even at the moment because of the COVID crisis, but now we still survive and the staff still very loyal to the restaurants. And not only that, I opened one of vegan kindergarten. 100% of kids there, they just eat the vegan food. So the kindergarten is not so big, under 100 people, but we are very happy. And even though the COVID is closed, but we believe that after the crisis is over, the school still will be open again. We believe that in the future, it will be one of very special address for the kids and the parents to register. Yeah.
We can clearly see that you created this very distinctive two different types of community, right? One is very traditional kind of community, a rigorous workplace that is professional and profit driven, and also this other type of community that you said that your staff is very loyal. How come is it better?
I mean, the vegan restaurant is a profit driven community, but one of my target is to let the people living in happy community, not for the money. We have to have some profit, but the profit is not top priority. Top priority that in the vegan restaurant is the happy community. So everybody can talk, express their thinking, their opinion, and I am just a person who summary their ideas, their expectation. So we will try to satisfy to each other.
Try to live in harmony, right?
Yes.
And I think that's very interesting because in a regular business, profit driven with a regular structure where there's a CEO, then some managers, then we have employees, there is a clear line of whose opinion is higher, which one is like considered first, right? And some things you're not allowed to say because you're on a lower level than the boss, right? And it looks like you've changed that up in your new community that you've built with the vegan restaurant, and you've made it so that everybody feels like they have an equal say in how things are run. And what I like the most about it is that you changed it from the number one priority being making profit, making a name for itself, right? Making deals, into prioritizing just making a community that is welcoming, making a community that is happy, that they respect each other, that they validate each other's opinion, right? Where nobody feels like they can say anything because they fear repercussions. Yeah, I like that. I love that.
So before I use the regulation to let the staff to work for me. All the thing regulation and all the rule I set up to the staff. But in the vegan restaurant, I train that it's not the rule, it's the human base needs, and human central is the way I lead. So I mean the owner is not me, the owner is them.
It's them, it's the community.
Yes, the community.
The community is the owner. That's very good. I like it. Well, the next thing that I want to talk about is how do we define a community? So already we talked about two examples of a community. One is a community of your workplace, right? Like a company that you've built, you have your CEOs, your managers, your employees. And another one would be kind of similar, right? A community that is made up of the people in your team that are all working towards building this vegan restaurant and the people who work in the vegan kindergarten. But how else can we define a community?
Yeah, I think the community is a very different definition. In my opinion, the community can be a family with 3 people or more people in a family. Can be a workplace, can be a social community, something like living environment, the country, the world.
Right.
The province, the city. Yes, so from small community to the big community. So if the small community live happily, you can live happily in any other, whether small or big community.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. If you can live happily in a small community, you can live happily in a bigger community. Definitely.
Yeah. Nice. Wait, actually, you know what? You've told us some of the work you've done in the past towards building a community, but what about now? What else do you do now towards building a community?
At the moment, a part of 2 vegan restaurants and 1 vegan kindergarten, I am creating a charity wellness community in Hoa Binh province, in the north of Vietnam. I think it's a very special place for the person who come, because even though the vegan restaurant or vegan kindergarten, but it's still money related. But in Hoa Binh, the people come there, they don't need to bring any money, they just come and work together and live happy together.
So it's fully non-profit, right? So what type of people can come in and live there?
Actually, we accept all kind of people to come. Maybe even regular people, they can come and enjoy one day of freestyle lifestyle there. Yeah, it means that you not need to live for others, you live for yourself. I mean, the live for yourself means that you can think about yourself, think about how good you are, how evil you are, how to improve your mental life.
Nice, perfect. Yeah. So do I qualify?
Surely.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
Okay, so since you have experience building communities in the past, right, from different backgrounds, like now that you're building this nonprofit community, right, it seems that you've interacted with a lot of communities throughout your life. So in your opinion, what makes it harder for people to live in a community?
Yeah, I think because I have a different community building and living backgrounds, I think I myself divide 4 types of people. I think that the first type is the people who bring suffering to themselves. It means that they never think about themselves. They just think about the others, like a housewife. All the time they think about the husband and children, and forget that they should be happy. So if she happy, she will make the family happy, not only provide the material goods to the other. So better she's happy, she will bring the happiness to other. But she thinks she will live for other a lot, so she just try to cook all the day. But whenever they not satisfy herself, she will very suffer, because usually the person who gives someone the things, they expect the same thing to themselves. So she will complain. So mean that she have to bring the mental environment to the family, not only the material goods to them.
Yeah, so this first type of person is the type of person that brings suffering to themselves by just thinking, how can I make others happy? You know, what can I buy them? What can I service them with, right?
Like she just serve the other.
Yeah, somebody who serves
but
others.
serving by the material goods. So it means that after that she cannot get the satisfaction from the husband and children. She feel very unhappy. She feel very suffer. So it means that she just suffer herself.
Oh, I see what you mean. I think we made a podcast episode where we talked about how everything is impermanent, right?
Yes.
So even though at this moment the person who is bringing happiness to others, they are depending on them for their own happiness. So once they cannot provide them with goods, or they cannot provide them with services, then they're gonna suffer themselves. Then they're gonna be very unhappy.
I think if the woman in your example, maybe if she feel like doing those things makes her happy, right? Not because she thinks that, oh, it's her obligation, or she have to, or it's an expectation that she does because she expects other people to care about her the same way. You know, I think that maybe it will be different. But because I understand your point of view, as in, you know, this person is very do things for other people because she wants the same thing back. And also sometimes you don't get it back, right? Or like you don't feel so happy doing these things, and you don't totally feel satisfied serving other, but you think it's more of an obligation. That's why they suffer, right?
Yeah, actually, and in addition, she just do the serving and don't think about herself and take care of herself. Take care mean I'm not talking about the appearance or become beautiful, but take care of the mental life. Yes, I mean I give the example in the family, but in workplace and say other community will be the same.
Okay, so that was the first type of person.
Yeah.
So what is the second type of person?
So the second type of person, the people who bring the suffering to others. The person who bring the suffering to others means all the time complain, all the time not happy with other performance, all the time expect much more the ability of others. So that means they make the other feel very bad about themselves. So the other people feel very guilty, feel very bad, feel very unhappy because they never happy with the other performance.
Never feel like it's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
And they're putting that expectations on others and
Making other people feel really inadequate, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very bad.
What's the
And
next type of
what is the third type of
What's
person?
the third type?
The people who bring the suffering to themselves and bring the suffering to others as well. And I think the case is like me in the past.
Oh, like you?
Yes.
Okay.
Because in the past when I was a CEO of the company, I usually work very hard and go out a lot and see a lot of partner, whether the partner I feel happy or not. And also from the early morning until late evening, just only work and work. And so I don't have the time for myself to nurture my mental life. So I don't feel the happy in the real way. Just only happy after getting the money or getting successful in the project, but it not last for such a long time.
And how do you bring suffering to other people?
Usually I expect the staff a lot, so I scold them. I be angry and they call me like storm coming. So and surely behind me they also complain or say badly about me because I expect them a lot, and the payment also really limited. Yes, so I'm very cold boss and all the time just order, and so I think that I never take care of my health, I never take care of my beauty, I never take care about how I feel and maintain my mental life for just a long term in the past. But now
Thank
I'm
you
different.
for your honesty. I think that's very good, and it's good that you're different now, right?
Yeah, surely.
So what is this fourth type of person?
Fourth type of people is the not bring the sufferings to themselves and suffering to others.
So the ideal type of person.
Yeah, surely they can live in any community, even small or big.
So they're always feeling happy. They always, don't
Satisfied,
provoke
yes.
Yeah, they're satisfied
suffering
with-
to other people. They don't bring suffering to themselves, right?
Yeah, it means to let me free and to let me feel relaxed and happy all the time. In case of something I'm not so satisfied with, but I accepting.
So how can we become like this fourth type of people that doesn't bring suffering to themselves, doesn't bring suffering to others? How can we be more like that?
Firstly, we have to love ourselves first, not like a kind of materially way.
Like not arrogantly.
Yes.
Like not like about our beauty and
Yes,
appearance
yes.
and money and
Yes. Yeah. It means you love yourself. It means you let me be free from any bindings. Yeah. So even you have family, you have kids, but you don't to expect to the husband and children a lot because they have their kind of lifestyle. They have different hobby of you. So
So the binding here is expectation.
yeah, kind of expectation.
So we have to let go of these expectations that we have of other people. that
To
we have.
love ourselves.
To love ourselves.
So it means that we have to love ourselves like
that.
that way. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've talked about how expecting things of others, apart from just bringing them suffering, it also brings us a lot of suffering, especially when those expectations are not met.
Yeah.
So I can see how definitely loving yourself is letting go of those expectations.
Yes, surely, absolutely. We love ourselves first. We can love other very easily. Yeah, because when we feel satisfied and let go the expectation, you will never let people to follow your way. Whenever other people do that way or this way, you feel happy with their way. Yeah.
So you don't feel so much as in like I'm right and you're wrong. You kind of let go of that mentality, and you kind of just accept that the other person might want to do things differently.
The accepting the difference difference of others.
Different opinions, different perspectives, right?
Yeah.
Different way of doing things,
Mm-hmm.
different lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
I think it's very inspiring. You give us these 4 options, 4 types of people. I think this kind of help us to, look within ourselves and kind of see what type of person we are so that we can work on it. And I think I really like your point about how when we start loving ourselves, we can start loving others, right? When we love ourselves, we learn to love ourselves in a way that is not superficial, like not like going to the spa and going on a shopping spree, but like love ourselves by, letting go of the shackles of expecting others and putting our happiness on other people's hand, right?
Yeah, I think that's
Chewing-
very good.
yeah.
Another question I have is what I see a lot of the time within a community is conflict. And it's very unavoidable. It's bound to happen at some point, especially as the community gets bigger, right? There's more people, a more diverse set of opinions, experiences, personalities, right? So there is bound to be some conflict there. So I want to know, have you ever had to mediate conflict between 2 people?
Surely. I have many experience at the moment.
And what is the most effective way to deal and to mediate a conflict between members of a community?
It's very interesting question, but I think it's not so difficult for me at the moment because actually we have to find out that what the conflict between them. For example, 2 people are other members in the community. Usually they can accept the difference of each other, and they have different desire and expectation even though they are in the same community. So I will let them have some time to think about the conflict firstly. So usually when they angry with each other or they feel badly to each other, I'm not the person who solve the problem immediately. I will let them have some time to think, and later on I will go to listen to each member expectation and the problem, to let them to
Let it out.
Let it out.
Let it
like
out.
feel that their opinion
Yeah.
is being heard.
Yes.
If not by the other person, but at least by somebody else in the community.
Yeah. Finally, I would advise them to be good listener and to be accepting each other's differences.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that in itself is a way to solve many problems that we have, right? All we need to really do is just listen to the other person and just realize that we are not always going to agree 100% on all the issues. We have different perspectives. We're bound to have different opinions, and that is fine.
And I think it's about also not like saying that I'm right and you're wrong.
Surely, because you can let them see that we are like a fruit garden. So in the fruit garden, there are mango, there are jackfruit, there are avocado, papaya, guava, so many kind of fruits, right? So in the community, we will be a similar way. So you are this fruit, you are that fruit. So
Nobody is going to
Yeah,
eat a mango and think like, why doesn't it taste like an apple?
So if you are the mango, you cannot expect the other same mango because we are in the garden. So the other is the guava. So we have to accept that this is guava. I am mango, but you are the guava. The other is apple. Yeah, something like this. So we can accept the difference very easily.
I think that's a very interesting kind of comparison, right? Because I think that we usually see each other as humans, and we don't see much difference in our shape and like outer appearance. But when we think about it in the way of a fruit garden, we'll see that I can see very clearly that we are very different.
Yeah, surely.
Yeah,
right?
and I think
In shape, in color, in taste, in smell, everything.
I like that analogy. Finally, I want to ask you, what advice can you give us as individuals, as young people, as members of a community, how to live happily within our community? How can we do
would
that?
want some short keywords of like things that we need to remember, things we should keep for ourselves and remind ourselves on how to be more happy living in a community.
I just give you the 3 words: accepting, respect, and patience.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
I can see that firstly we have to accept the differences, right?
Truly.
And then we need to respect that we're all different and respect other people's opinions and expectation. And finally, be patient to other people's things that we don't like so much. Be patient with something that we don't like so much, occur, right?
Yeah. And especially be patient in listening to others.
Yeah. As people in general, we're very quick to wanting to voice our opinion, but I think the power of silence is louder, right?
Truly, because when you sit and be patient to listen from others, you can understand them. And everybody, they have suffers, or they have something inside very deeply that you cannot see externally.
I think I read this somewhere one time that when you speak, you're not learning anything new, right? Your ears is only hearing what you already know.
Yeah.
But when you listen, your ear is taking in new information, and maybe you'll learn something more, right?
Exactly.
Well, I think that's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing with us the knowledge you have on how to live happily in a community.
Oh yeah, just only my very little contribution to your very wonderful postcard.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you want to hear other episodes, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, all platforms. You can follow us on Instagram at thinking.cube. And finally, let's get thinking cube.